All right, we will call the meeting to order, 6:03. I don't have minutes to approve because of a standing issue we have with a note taker. That will be rectified soon, but we're going to use for now the recordings on DCTV as our minutes, and they'll eventually be transcribed once we replace the person. Okay, next I have an addition, correspondence. This is for Windham Solid Waste Management Workshop. The next thing I have is members of the public and the Historical Society. Charlie?
Charles Marchant, President of the Townshend Historical Society. The first question I have to ask is, I turned in an updated budget for the Stone Arch Bridge, and my question is, I'm questioning whether you have that, or do you? Looks like you do.
Is that the 6/20/2021, Charlie?
Yes,
Figures?
and we have a revised one of 9/13/21.
Okay, we don't have that.
Okay.
Do you have it with you?
Yeah, would you, those? It's not going to change that much, but basically reflects any other additions or monies that have come in since.
Oh, great. Thanks.
Thank you.
And then the other thing I passed in, and I think I gave a second copy to Steve, was this memorandum of understanding regarding this trail.
Yep, I have that right here.
Okay, so we'll deal with the Stone Arch Bridge first. And we're here to update you on what's transpired. And issue number one is the original budget that was done 3 years ago, almost 3.5 years ago now, is no longer valid. And valid in a bad way. It's gone up considerably. The budget you have also has an itemization of some of the expenses, which the previous budget didn't have. So it's basically now around $750,000. And of that, we've raised $220,453, which means there's $529,547 to be raised to do the project as designed with the assessment that was done by Michael Weitzner. Well, we applied in June through Senator Sanders' office for an infrastructure appropriation. And at the time, we applied for $250,000. This request that we submitted was done prior to us getting this revised budget. So we thought that $250,000 would pretty much take care of the old budget, and that's not going to happen. We received a call, and Lee will she'll chime in here if I get this mixed up, but Senator Sanders' office called Lee, an aide, is it? A representative, and said, we're in the running for this $250,000 appropriation. And as we hear, we received no other correspondence or phone calls up to through today. But it was encouraging to find that out. Somewhere along the line, we're also sort of led to believe that there actually might be more money. So we're in the process of asking Senator Sanders' office if this $250,000 request could be increased. And we haven't heard on that.
We haven't asked yet.
Oh, okay,
I'm Lee Petty.
Lee-
I'm on the
she's the
Historical
treasurer
Society
of
board.
the historic. Okay, so that's the plan. If this happens, this appropriation from Senator Sanders is a one-for-one match. Well, we have 200 and some $1,000. The question is, if we were to receive additional money, how would we go about matching it? And the only way we could do that is through gifts, grants, and further town appropriation, which the town's already appropriated money that's in the Stone Arch Fund as a reserve fund. So that's what we're asking, is would the town consider raising some money so that we could have the match? And the reason this would have to happen is this project must be done all at once. To receive this money, you can't do it, in 6 months and then 6 months later do another 6 months and then a year later do another. The other thing is, we've asked Michael specifically, can this project be done in stages, meaning the rebuilding of the four corners of the bridge? There's nothing wrong with the arch. It's the four corners. And he said no, it's got to all be done at once. So that's what we're in for here, is a complete project. The other thing that we've been told by Senator Sanders' office is once this money is appropriated, you have a year to complete the project. I'm trying to use some federal logic here. Their year ends September 30th, so I doubt very seriously we're going to get a call in the next couple of weeks and say, by September 30th, you're going to receive some money, and now you got a year to match it. So I'm guessing that anything we find out will be in the next cycle, which will begin October 1st, and as my understanding is, they haven't even approved it in Congress. So, but there's this huge infrastructure bill that's out there.
Charlie, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Quick question. Is this money is it considered a grant? Because some of the grants that are out there, you can't combine them.
It's a one-to-one match appropriation.
Okay.
So we still have some questions that we've got to find out. Is the time frame for the expenditures in terms of, do you get a year from the day they tell you, or do you, we don't know that specifically. We're really neophytes at this, and this is kind of a big surprise that they were interested in funding this project. The other question we need to ask them, and this happens with federal money sometimes, is you have to pay it out and then they reimburse you. And we need to find that out, and we don't know the answer to that question. And then the final question, which I think I've already got answered, but I just want to clarify because we're here at the meeting. Since we already have this established Stone Arch Bridge Fund, if we were to receive this money, the Historical Society is not really prepared to receive sums of that amount through our bookkeeping and accounting, but the town already has this fund, which is established and been established. Will the town act as the agent for receiving these funds if they come forward? Which means they go into that Stone Arch Bridge Reserve Fund and then be expended, when the project is done. So those are the questions we're kind of asking the board. We think we have an opportunity to get a reasonable amount of money. We're not stopping our fundraising procedures, but that's what we're here for. And I think that's it for my presentation on where we're at. So it's kind of an update of where we're at, and we wanted you guys to know there's this possibility out there.
I think as far as inputting funds into that reserve account, might have to get Elaine involved in that and the auditors to decide whether we set up another line item. And I'll give you just a brief example. All the storm damage we had from the July 29th, All of that is set on a separate line item apart from the town budget so that it can be reimbursed and go back into circulation. So I'm not sure that this would be any different. It just depends on the language, I think, in the reserve fund as to how that money is put into it. I know that the auditors are coming, or at least one of them is coming on the I want to say the 28th. So we should be able to have an answer for you as to what we can do, at least by then. Any questions that the rest of the board has?
Was there any explanation why the price went up quite the way it did? I mean, if you go buy other stuff, it didn't go up by 200 and something percent.
That's bothered me, no.
Because, I mean, there's such a huge discrepancy from the first original bid to this bid that it's like you're looking at it, and I mean, he's got it broken down very well. And there's just some of them that you're like, I mean, if everybody got paid that amount of money, we wouldn't be driving beat up vehicles and running inferior equipment. We would have top of the line.
It was a shock to me. My guess is, having limited conversation with Michael on this, was when he did the first budget 3 years ago, he didn't think things through in terms of some of these expenses that didn't involve him. You know, he's basically a one-person operation, and when they did the work at the State Park Bridge, he got a lot of help from the town, which we greatly appreciate. And I suspect, even though there was a town expense in the sense of providing material and labor, that saved some money on that project. And I suppose that possibility exists again, but I don't know that for sure. But, you know, our eyes went, huh?
Well, I just think if the general public looked at that, I mean, there's 15,000 for removing the roadway and spandrel wall, 250,000 in building materials, or building stone, 25,000 in scaffolding, which you could buy a mountain of scaffolding for $25,000, $200,000 in labor, $125,000 for an excavator, $35,000 for cost of staging and handling materials, $50,000 for project manager, and $50,000 in contingencies. There's a lot of area there to work with things. And you can buy a pretty nice excavator for $125,000, and I think the labor includes, you know, what the excavator would be, I would think. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, if I do the numbers in my head to all these, that's a lot of man hours. And I mean, that's even making, you know, a lot of money per hour. So, I don't know.
We could certainly ask him to break down those categories of where that's coming from.
Might be worth it.
Is there any other questions for Charlie on this issue?
I have to agree with Rob. I think some of these costs are a little high, but obviously we want this to happen for our town, for sure. Yeah, just being realistic with those prices would be nice.
Okay. Charlie, I'm gonna make a copy of this thing that's out the pathway, so you can speak to that and
The what?
the pathway, the
Oh, okay.
draft.
Now, what is his lead time, like if we said go ahead with it, is he able to jump on it pretty
Well,
quick, or is it?
One of the questions, and it always comes up when you describe a project, given the amount of money that's being spent here, and because this is a little different than the bridge on the State Forest Road, which is not part of the town roadway, I'm gonna guess, and you guys would know better than I, wouldn't this project have to be put out to bids? And if you do that, you're taking one person's assessment, which has been done, and that the town already has a copy of that assessment, and also did those emergency repairs, you know, what, a year and a half, 2 years ago now, that Michael did. I don't know, given the type of structure that you're working with, the pool of qualified candidates is pretty small. But I personally think it would be in the best interest of the town to bid it out. Where that leaves Michael in the sense that he wrote up all this information, in a sense you're kind of stealing his information without any compensation, although actually he did get compensated for doing that assessment.
He did,
Yeah.
and also for doing the emergency repair.
Right.
Well, doesn't it take a site walk anyway? People, they would have to come and do their own assessment.
Correct. We wouldn't share this information with another
That's true. too.
contractor.
Yeah, okay,
We would have to do a pre-bid meeting,
yeah,
write out the scope of the project.
right, okay.
What's the time frame on that, like, if you had to put it out to bid? This.
It doesn't take that long.
Okay.
It takes a couple of weeks.
Because one of the things about the appropriation, well, it's large, and if we do get it, which we certainly don't know, we'd like to take advantage of that money, because that's probably the largest source of money for us at this moment.
Right.
But then it becomes an issue of matching it, guaranteeing to them that we've got it matched, because they'll only give us what we match 1-to-1, and then doing all the rest of the stuff we have to do to get it done within the time frame of the appropriation.
Now, how much will they match up to?
We have to match 1-to-1
Yeah.
what they give us. So right now, today, if we got an appropriation, we have 220,000 and change in the bank. That's all they would give us. We asked initially for $250,000, so to get that, we've got to come up with 30,000 more.
But if we came up with $1 million, would they come up with $1 million?
I don't think it works that way. I think that, although we know very little about it, I think they would say, we will give you an appropriation of what you asked for instance, $250,000, and you've got to match that 1-to-1. One of our handicaps now is we haven't had any other contact with them since our application went in, except this call from a person on Senator Sanders' staff who only identified herself as Erica. Excuse me. And I've been trying to get hold of the aides in charge of this at his Burlington office, and they haven't gotten back. So we are really handicapped at this point, but I think it's important that you know that we're teetering on the edge of this, and that in order to get any money they offer, we're going to have to be ready to jump on it.
I would think as a taxpayer to come up with 30,000 in order to get 30,000 from them would not be a bad, you know, it would be a good idea for us.
Yes.
And I mean, if they were willing to match even
Yes.
more than that.
But that would not allow us to complete the budget. We'd fall far short of the budget if we only added 250,000 to the total that we have now. We'd have probably, in rough terms, we'd have $500,000. We need 750,000. Or because the project has to be done all at once, we have to have enough money on hand to pay for the whole project. So that would mean not only are we looking for the 30,000 in additional match, but we're still looking for 250,000 more to complete the budget.
Well, the taxpayers at town meeting have been supportive of raising funds, and it probably would be another 2 years before this happened.
Yes.
And if we continued to raise another 50,000 a year, that would give us another 100,000 by the time those monies could be available.
Mhm.
And if we did put it out to bid,
Yes,
we might be at a lower price of the winning bid.
yes.
So that might get us
It's gonna close
closer
the
to
gap.
the goal of what you're looking for.
As the Historical Society, I think our first priority would be to repair the bridge, restore it using the same techniques that the original builder, James Otis Follis, used, which is the dry stone technique. So that bid would then have to go to, well, we would much appreciate it to go to someone who is an expert in that field. And they're the, you know, we don't like to talk about it, but there clearly are other ways to repair this bridge. I think they'd be more expensive, but I don't know.
It kind of sounds like there's a lot of unknowns here, and appreciate you letting us know about it. I don't think we can move
No.
one way or the other at this point till you hear from Sandra's office, and our purchasing policy would require the lowest bid anyways. So, yeah. My advice would be keep digging and just let us know what your status is, and if there's anything the staff can do to help, the town staff can do to help, we certainly can work that out.
Our main purpose was just to get on record that we're presenting this to you and here's where we're headed, you know, and I guess my biggest fear is they call us tomorrow and say, okay, you know, you gotta do this by September 30th, and that'd be kind of hard to do. They'd have to understand that it's not gonna work that way, but,
Well, we would have to refuse the appropriation.
or get them to postpone it.
But fortunately, the legislation probably won't be passed
No.
until sometime this fall.
Yeah.
It may not be passed at all, so
Right.
we may not come to that point in the immediate future. But we just wanted you to be aware of the possibility of that funding and what we'd have to do to secure it.
Okay? Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Charlie, you had something that you passed over to Steve, I think it was, it's about the project, the pathway project.
Yeah, we're working on a bike trail that would connect the state park to the Corps of Engineers property. And the trail exists with the exception of getting across Fair Brook, which the Corps of Engineers has indicated that if we were to secure a pathway from the existing town road, which ends at Stone Arch Way, or at the bridge across the small portion of Larry Gould's property, the Corps of Engineers would build a bridge across the brook. And then people could, either on foot or bicycle, could access both properties. Well, it would all be public property with the exception of that. I think it's 18 feet wide by 80 feet, something like that. I've asked Larry if he would allow the town to do that, and he said yes. So this was a draft of the proposal, and I want to emphasize it's just a draft because I'm not, one of the issues comes up is how strong is this in the sense of a legal document and whatever, and we're leaving that up to the town. I know we got the memorandums for the signs, and those worked out just fine. Everybody seems to be happy with that. One question has come up since I typed up this draft, is there's a new boss in town with the Corps, Alex Cody, and he has indicated, now has a copy of this, And he's indicated that if he's not sufficiently happy with how it's worded, he won't accept it because they gotta build the bridge. So I guess my one suggestion would be, since he now has a copy of this draft, would the town, if it sees fit to engage Larry with an MOU?
Yep, memorandum of
MOU, yeah.
understanding.
Would they also contact Alex Cody at the Corps just to make sure that they're happy? Because there's no sense getting Larry's permission and then having the Corps say, well, we don't like that and we're not gonna build the bridge. The previous supervisor, Dale, approved this and forwarded it to whoever he's, and then he retired, so so now we got the new guy to deal with. I haven't met him, but Heidi Clausen has, and she's been in contact with him about this, this memorandum that we discussed with Larry. So we're kind of leaving it up to you guys to get the wording right, and once it gets approved, then theoretically, and I'm guessing we're talking next year, the Corps will build some sort of bridge across the brook.
Okay. Any questions for Charlie on this? Okay. The only thing I have is, I think this is complicated enough between the federal government and the town and a private property owner that I would want to submit this to our attorney to actually draft it.
Okay.
And make sure that it's very much clear. And the problem with MOUs are that the next person that comes along who happens to buy Larry's property says, I don't want that there.
Right.
And then what do you do?
Right.
So there's lien issues or potential, or not lien issues, but potential issues of losing access to it.
It's an encumbrance on the property, and
So,
we understand that.
okay. No other comments? Okay. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Let's see. Now we have a presentation from the Townshend Library Board.
Well, I think presentation might be overstepping a little bit, but we do have some great news. I'm Beverly Alley, I'm the chair of our Board of Trustees. These are my wonderful trustees and our librarian, Karen LaRue. And we're here basically to tell you some good news. Mary Moberly, our longtime volunteer and wonderful mentor, she left us a really sizable bequest. And now we are getting ready to try to look forward and how can we use it, how can we use this bequest to benefit the library and the town. It seems like there's all kinds of possibilities.
Rebuild a bridge?
Well, I'm not going to say no, because so our plan going forward is we're hoping to survey as many people as we can, go to as many places as we can, and get input from a really large section of our town. Because this could be, I think, it could benefit a lot of people, and it could be a vehicle for bringing more people to the library and making it more useful for our town. So we are working on a survey that we're hoping to get to the churches, the schools, the local businesses, maybe set up a table in front of the Riverbend Market, see something along that line. The main reason we're here tonight, and why we bring it to you, is A, to let you know about it so we can work together on it. But I mean, certainly you folks know the town better than anyone, so we're going to be coming to you to get your input. But also, we're hoping you'll spread the word. I mean, I know people come to you and say that they're interested in maybe helping out the town in various ways, sometimes informally. Not enough of them are coming, I realize, but and maybe if it's somebody who's interested in this sort of thing, you could point them our way, because we're hoping to put together a committee, a long-term planning committee, to kind of help us in going forward and guide us on this.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome, isn't it? We're very excited about it. It's huge for us. I think the possibilities are really great. So we'll be thinking, let people know what might work, and we'll try to get those surveys out soon. We've been working on them, and we'll...
What are your ideas?
Well, it could be programming, could be space, might there be a good space we could provide for meetings and small gatherings, trivia nights. Might be equipment or something that the library could provide that people could borrow, might be useful. So, yeah.
Yeah, and also, what, as Marilyn was saying, we want everyone's input. So, we've got some ideas, but we want to hear the town's ideas.
Could you state your name, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm Jean McIntyre.
Okay, thank you.
This is the first time the bridge came up, but and I didn't know about the trail. That's yeah, so
How much are we looking at here?
$189,000.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty astonishing.
That's really wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so.
Mary was a really nice lady.
Can you
She
believe
really
it?
was. She did a lot of work for the fire department, come fundraising time, and put a lot of effort in it, even when she couldn't see very well, and so, yeah. Not surprising from that standpoint.
Pretty great legacy, really is. So that's our plan. Please, as things come to you, let us know. Anyone who might be interested, I hope you'll send them either over to the library or to any of us here. We'd be glad to talk with them. And as I said, we're hoping to get a committee and a really wide representation from this town. A lot of people.
Very good.
Might want to discuss it with Alonka, the town clerk, so to get her feedback and input, since she sees the vast majority of the town residents that have something to say on a daily basis. So you might get some good
That's a great idea.
input
Get some
with
names
her.
from her. Yeah.
It's not that expensive to put a little flyer out too, to put a little survey to all the residents, just as a suggestion.
It seems, yeah, we're definitely gonna do that, and we're gonna try to figure out ways to reach as many places in town as we can, and like you said, get a wide.
The library has an electronic newsletter that we send infrequently. We try and do it every month or two, so that'll be another medium that we can use.
Mm-hmm.
Could you say your name, please?
Karen LaRue. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming.
Thank you. Thanks for all you
Yes,
do.
thank you very much.
Please don't hesitate if you have any questions or comments.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Short presentation, good luck.
Two opposite, asking for me,
Okay.
sharing.
We got it.
The next thing we have is a letter. I included it, well, it's an email in the form of a letter from the executive director of the supervisor of programming from Windham Solid Waste, just acknowledging Herb Stoll as the representative, and Eddie, I can't remember Eddie's last name now. Eddie Benoit, for going to the training session that they held. It's listed as 5A, and I think that's about all there is with that one. Okay, reports. Steve, go ahead.
We received the mower yesterday. We started running the mower yesterday for roadside mowing. We have it for 2 weeks. We're also have repaired all the major damage from the July 29th storm. We are now going around and cleaning up culvert outlets and reclaiming a lot of the road gravel that we lost and hauling that back down to the pit to be recycled. And again, as we go around town cleaning that up, there are some little small things that need to be repaired, and we will continue to do that as we make our rounds.
Any questions for Steve?
When are you gonna pave Windham Hill Road?
No, it's not him.
So, can't give me a definite answer other than soon. It's teaming it up with a project that Basin Brothers is doing in Jamaica, but he says it will be soon. Every time there's a rain day, it pushes it back a day. So, but soon.
Did you have any luck with that culvert that's plugged on Peaked Mountain Road?
Yeah, it's all set. We did it yesterday.
Okay. All right, anything else? All right, so we'll go to treasurer's report. Get that out of the way. No, we won't. I skipped right over Rob. Rob, Why don't you do the warrants now, since I'm not paying attention?
Make a motion to pay the warrants, starting with number 1, payroll, in the amount of $22,811.47. Number 2, payroll tax, in the amount of $9,798.82. Number 3, the general fund, in the amount of $149,562.76. Number 4, equipment fund, in the amount of $3,383.35, for a total of $185,556.40.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion about the totals? Hearing none. All those in favor of paying the warrants totaling $185,556.40 signify by saying aye. Aye. 5-0. Okay. Now, let's see. I messed that order up pretty well. We'll go back and we'll take care of the balances in the accounts from the treasurer. There's $1,927,572.06 in the municipal investment fund, and there's $30,000 in the checking account. Share that. No clerks, no old business. There is a little bit of new business. The AA group that used to, before COVID, meet here is asking for permission to meet on Wednesdays from 6 to 7 p.m., 5:30 to 7:30 with prep and cleanup. Now, I don't know how we've dealt with this in the past. Has there been a fee associated with this, or has it been left to, has it been set aside? And the only comment I have is they can't interfere with regularly scheduled meetings of the Planning Commission or others to conduct town business, is what I meant to say. Any thoughts on that?
I don't think the planning commission meets up there.
No, they want to meet in here. The AA group wants to meet in here. Now, from what I've heard from the Planning Commission, is they generally use the Lister's office.
I was gonna say, before they've coexist with each other, and when this is being used, or the Planning Commission will go in there and AA will use out here, and if AA is not here, then they'll be in here. And they coexist with each other, and I don't believe there was a fee for them.
I don't think there was.
But I would make a motion to resume AA meeting here at the town hall with the stipulation that if they were getting charged before, to continue with that, but if they weren't, then to continue with that.
Okay.
So whatever the deal was before, stick with it. And
Okay.
So moved.
Okay, we've got a motion and seconded. Is there any further conversation about this? Okay. So I'll sign off on it and get it to Alenka so she can make the contact to get that done. All right. Is there any more public business that anyone has at this point before we go into executive session? Okay. I'd entertain a motion to go into executive session under 1 VSA 313B for personnel issue.
What was this last page? This
Oh, we're gonna
email?
talk about that.
That's something else, okay.
We're gonna talk about that.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. There'll be no report out of this. Thank you.